Ethan was well known in his small town, not for his wit or his kindness, nor for any remarkable talent. Instead, the townspeople whispered about his idleness. In the soft glow of summer afternoons, Ethan might be found sprawled on the grass, gazing up at the drifting clouds, hours slipping past unnoticed. Days melded together, mornings lost to sleep, afternoons squandered in daydream, evenings fading into nothing of consequence. His life was a steady stream of wasted time, trickling away one yawning hour at a time. On a day much like any other, Ethan wandered into the quieter parts of town, his feet carrying him without purpose along twisting alleys and sluggish lanes. His path ended at a tiny shop squeezed between a crumbling bakery and an abandoned tailor. The sign above the door read, El Baran, Clockmaker. The bell chimed as he pushed open the door. The air inside was tinged with the scent of oil and old brass, and all around him the walls pulsed with the quiet tick-tock of countless clocks, their hands marching ceaselessly onward. Behind the counter stood the clockmaker, wizened and bowed, his spectacles glinting in the amber light. With a voice like the muted chime of a grandfather clock, the old man greeted Ethan, who shrugged and wandered among the timepieces, watching their steady, hypnotic rhythm. "You look as though you have more time than you know what to do with," the clockmaker remarked. Ethan offered a lazy smirk. "Is that a problem?" The old man regarded him for a moment, then shuffled behind the counter and retrieved a pocket watch. Its surface was scratched but gleamed with a peculiar luster. He pressed it into Ethan's palm, his fingers cold and thin. "Take this," the clockmaker said quietly. "But remember this, every hour spent in idleness, every minute wasted, will cost you more than you think." With that, he ushered Ethan out, the shop bell chiming once again. At first, Ethan laughed off the clockmaker's cryptic warning. He tucked the watch into his pocket and returned to his languid habits. The days blurred, one into the next. He would sleep until noon, dawdle in the park, let the afternoon slip through his fingers as easily as sand. Yet now, each time he glanced at the mysterious watch, he saw its hands spin faster, the ticking growing louder, more insistent. Then one morning, Ethan awoke, and something felt wrong. He stared at his ceiling, struggling to recall a conversation with his best friend from the day before. But it slipped away from him, blurry and unreachable. At breakfast, his mother asked him to fetch groceries. He stood blinking in the doorway, unable to remember where the store was, though he'd been there countless times. Disturbed, he wandered back to the clockmaker's shop, the forgotten memories scraping at the edge of his mind. The old man emerged from the back, eyebrows raised with quiet concern. "Is there something wrong with the watch?" Ethan asked, anxiety threading through his voice. "Not with the watch," the clockmaker replied, "but with time. Every hour you let slip away, the watch counts it. For each wasted hour, a memory vanishes." Panic gnawed at Ethan. He protested, "That's impossible, I remember everything." But even as he spoke, he found the words faltering, details dimming. The face of his childhood dog, the laughter of an old friend, the first time he rode a bicycle, all shrouded in a dull fog. In sudden terror, Ethan ran from the shop, clutching the curious watch, vowing to be more mindful. For the first time in his life, Ethan lived with purpose. He woke early, determined to fill his hours with action and intent. He helped his mother with chores. He repaired an old shed in the garden, mending splintered wood and rusted hinges. Uncertain at first, his hands grew sure. Every hour was measured, every minute counted. He reached out to his friends, pressing himself to repair the gaps in their conversations, resurrect bonds he had so carelessly neglected. He listened, truly listened, as they spoke about their hopes and worries, and shared his own with a vulnerability that surprised them both. He realized that time spent together, even in silence, was never wasted. With each day of effort, Ethan noticed subtle changes. The watch's ticking slowed, returning to its regular, measured pace. Lost memories began to resurface, first in flashes. His sister's laughter at the dinner table, the sweet tartness of apples from the orchard, but then clearly, as though they'd never left him. Yet he felt the weight of lost hours acutely, aware now that they could never truly be reclaimed. He visited the clockmaker once more, gratitude clear in his eyes. The old man smiled, recognizing the transformation in the young man before him. "You understand now," the clockmaker said softly, "that time is not your enemy, nor your servant. It is a gift, precious and finite." Ethan nodded. The lesson hard-earned, the price steep, but fair. He left the shop and stood in the square, watching people bustle by, lives brimming with urgency and intent. He knew he could not force anyone else to value their time, just as no one had been able to force him. The lesson was one to be lived, not taught. As the seasons turned, Ethan became known for his presence, the way he filled a room with warmth instead of hesitation. He spoke to the elderly, played games with children, lent help wherever he could. His days grew full and meaningful. The reputation of the lazy boy faded, replaced by the story of the young man who learned to treasure every passing minute. Sometimes, late at night, Ethan would hold the watch up to the moonlight, its steady hands reflecting the silver glow. He remembered the cost of wasted hours. He remembered the pain of lost memories and the sweetness of their return. Most of all, he remembered the clockmaker's words, that in the end, every second is a gift, and what we do with it is who we become. So Ethan lived his days awake to possibility, vigilant against the pull of careless idleness. Though the watch's ticking had softened, the lesson echoed always in his heart. Time, after all, was not something to be spent or hoarded, but cherished, and never ever wasted.